Question. Real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
Brews and banter.
I think I've done that. Okay. Sorry, we have like array of cameras here. Press record on. All right, ready? Hi, Frank. Hey, Ron. How are you? I'm great. I'm excited because we're actually having a guest up to talk about a topic we never have talked about.
Yeah, and it's different for us because it's it's a little more mature, I think, than some of the stuff we do
for our immature minds and audience. But let her introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
Well, let's not have everyone tune out by calling me mature because A, it's not true, and B, I want to keep your listeners engaged.
Absolutely.
I have the sense of humor of an 8-year-old, so feel free to lean into that. Being a boring, stiff adult is not the path to a long life. So
I think we all like to be immature. We just are being told not to behave that way.
Yeah, there is plenty of that. So anyhow, my story is a long, windy one to hear, which I won't bore people with, but I will give you the high points as to why anybody might care. Behind every wall and in every product we consume, there might be something lurking we don't know about. And in my case, it was mold. There was mold behind a wall that I painted. And it turns out that that's really bad for you. I didn't know. I knew the wall was wet when I painted it because the paint was dripping down. I didn't know how long it had been wet. I didn't know that it was a threat to my health. And then 2 weeks later, not even putting 2 and 2 together, I couldn't read a spreadsheet. I couldn't put together sentences very well. I was kind of stuttering and I was foggy and confused. I wrote down a whole list of symptoms that I put in my book, word for word, the way I wrote them down that day, and found a neurologist because my brain just stopped functioning like a normal adult. And I was 45 at the time. And a lot of people might have said, because I was doing really well in my career and pushing myself really hard. And there were 2 theories. I had fried a circuit, as one does, viable theory, or that it was perimenopause, which could have been the case, but it wasn't. And my journey was full of misdiagnoses. Even the neurologist misdiagnosed me with a traumatic brain injury that I didn't have. It was because the test was performed wrong. And it took me 2 years to heal. And, once I got my life back together, I wanted to really try to explain what people can do to feel good, because life without feeling good is not as fun, not as productive, not as meaningful. I watched my grandmother die over the course of 15 years, slowly, just like barely able to move around. And I don't want that for myself. So it's kind of my story. I'll let you decide where you want to take it from there. Hopefully people are still listening.
We got a lot of places to go now.
So Sandy, originally, this is all started from the mold exposure that you had. And prior to your mold exposure, you mentioned you were successful pushing yourself. What was your career like? What were you doing before this whole event happened?
Back to living like a child, I was running Comic-Cons. And
nice.
Were you dressing up like in character and stuff like that?
I was not. No, I was way too uptight for that.
Okay. Well, now you would, though. Now you would do it.
I would do it now for sure. Yeah. I did dress up as Bumblebee once with my nephew, who dressed up as Optimus Prime when I went to a friend's Comic-Con. but I never dressed up at any of mine. There is a documentary about me running that show. It's called Surviving SuperCon. So if anybody wants to watch me being a total bitch, that's where you can do that. Hopefully I won't resurrect the bitch today. She kind of died with the mold. It was
she's a moldy bitch, right?
Yeah. It was 2020 and we had just run an event in Richmond called GalaxyCon Richmond. And 2 weeks later, the whole world shut down and we took that business and made it virtual. But we gave away we refunded $400,000 in tickets and had to pivot. Now, the thing that's amazing is that we got to a point where we were quadrupling our revenue every month compared to the prior year because we were so successful virtually, but because it was such a tight period of time in which we had to go. I was in the documentary, I joke about working 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, but it was serious. Like there were some 20-hour days in there in September of that year when I took the platform and made it like a really viable product, a viable tool, put it all on Shopify, did it all myself. And then in October, I couldn't run reports on the event, on the setup that I had just created. And so that's when I knew, because I created the whole system and then couldn't run the reports on it.
Right.
Couldn't read the spreadsheet. But yeah, we've had lots of fun running Comic-Cons over the years. And I never ran one after I got sick because it took me 6 months to even figure out what was wrong with me. And it took another year before events came back. And then by that time, my personality shifted so much as a result of losing my identity completely because everything I knew to be me got really quiet. And I figured out the cool part in hindsight is that I was stuck in presence. So I got to find out what presence is, which is kind of neat. I can't say I access it as much as I'd like to now, but I'm glad I'm not stuck there. And it's nice to know what it is. I had been trying to find the power of now for a long time, and I was hoping.
Have they been reaching out to you to see if you could take that over again?
No.
No?
No. Do you remember the comment about the bitch? They were happy to lose her. Yeah.
Oh, they were like, okay.
Yeah.
But
no,
so
I wasn't as nice
in
a person.
October. So October was the first sign.
Yeah.
Is when you noticed. And what made you think that this was mold, or how did you come to a conclusion that this was mold exposure?
I tried so many things. First, I went for a brain scan, and then I tried some at-home tests. I was testing my gut, my hormones. I even tested for heavy metals. But here's a word to the wise. You can't just take at-home health tests without any guidance and expect it to be okay. In my case, I took a test from Everlywell, which is a fine company, fine test. But the lab that ran my test between them and me called me and said, I'm not supposed to call you. Always a bad sign. I'm not supposed to call you. But you have so much arsenic in your system, you might just die. Like,
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And you've heard of the placebo effect, right? Where you think something is going to work, so it works. So the opposite also is true. The nocebo effect is when you think something is going to harm you and it does actually harm you. And so it took me over a month to feel back to any semblance of myself again after that, because the shock of you might just die from someone who seemed to have evidence of that freaked me out. So
what's the first reaction? You hear this on the phone where a lab says not supposed to call you, but you're about to die.
But where did that come from? Like, where was all this arsenic?
That's a great question. So it was a crab cake. Apparently, crab has a lot of organic, natural arsenic. For anyone who's listening, I'm using air quotes because I don't understand what that is. I've read descriptions of it online, but I don't understand how there can be an arsenic that doesn't hurt you and arsenic that does. Somebody is a scientist who's listening who's laughing at me right now, but I don't get it. So what I had done was 36 hours before I peed in a cup, I ate a crab cake. The night before I peed in a cup, I took something called activated charcoal, which binds to bad stuff in the body and apparently has you pee them out. So I peed out all the arsenic from the crab cake and in one just dump. And so it's good to know that you can excrete it that quickly. But I mean, good news. If I eat a crab cake again, I'll probably just take an activated charcoal because I know whatever that is, it will get out of my body. But it was so much so fast that it spoofed the test.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a bunch of stuff and I was
to what
lost.
I asked, I'm just curious of your thought process. And I would be scared, probably freaking out. I'd probably go rob a bank or something. Like, I'm dying.
What are you going to do with the money if you're dying?
It doesn't matter. I would like to ask you this, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But what was your reaction like? Like to hear that news, you're gonna die any moment, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
It was sheer terror. It was in terms of like, that feeling when you slam on the brakes because you might just hit something. Somebody cuts you off. You say like in that terror that runs through your body, like that your body's reacting as if it might die any moment. That terror went through my body. And that's a whole cascade of hormones that if not processed and gotten out immediately, like we have 90 seconds to flush that through because when we get scared like that, we're supposed to run. And our evolution is if you see a tiger, you run. This tiger's probably still going to eat you, but the running removes the dangerous cortisol in the body. But if it stays, it just kind of festers and eats at you. But it felt horrifying. But then there's just no way. I was like, that I will do something. And I had a friend who had just gone to med school, but wasn't a real doctor. And he was like, you've got to get chelation right now. And so I called the clinic and they said, we're not going to chelate you unless we have test results. But it was the lab. It wasn't Everlywell. They hadn't passed the results to the company that could give them to me. So my then husband looked on LinkedIn and found a vice president of the company and reached out and got it pushed through within 2 hours. And same day I made it to a clinic. Wow. And so it was a coordinated effort to do what we thought was a life-saving therapy same day.
Now, is that dangerous to have that procedure done?
Keep going, Frank. I just got to plug the computer in. I'm listening.
Is it dangerous to have that done based on, I guess, false information, really?
I think it's not great. It's not dangerous.
Okay.
Like I could get chelation for like the chelation itself. It's just, it strips all the good stuff out of your body too.
Okay.
And so some people do it on purpose and then remineralize. It's excessive. It's not something that is advised, even in the health optimization space. Like I've heard some people suggest it's a good preventative measure, but I think it was wise of them. And they took a blood sample before they ran the chelation. And this is how we found out that it wasn't arsenic. It took 10 days for my blood test to come back, and I didn't have any arsenic in my blood. And so I went through 2 or 3 treatments before that came back, which is fine. It didn't hurt me. But there was nothing to worry about. And thank goodness they did the test. They found other things that were wrong with me that helped me figure out how to get better. But that was a journey. And then I didn't figure out it was mold for another few months. I was listening to Dave Asprey's book about his health, and he had had a similar brain scan that I had had, and there was a particular panel in it that made it look like I'd done a lot of drugs, but I hadn't. And same for him. And they figured out for him it was mold. And I was like, test for mold. And then that was it.
See, those Comic-Cons are really famous for drugs.
Too high all the shit.
Funny story, though. Once they decriminalized marijuana in Miami, that show got really mellow. And then when we took it to Fort Lauderdale, where it was not decriminalized, people were punching each other in the face again because we would run till 2 a.m. and every show there was a kid who had a seizure and somebody got punched in the face at least once. So
It's once.
Yeah.
with 50,000 people and drinking and stuff at night, somebody's going to get punched.
Yeah. So it's important to talk about, we're just kind of touching on, a bunch of things here at the beginning, but it's important to be an advocate for yourself. I mean, so you've done research and you try to figure these things out because, doctors aren't always right. I mean, most of the time they are, I guess, or they're definitely trying. They're not lying to you, but there are some mistakes made. And in their case,
well, can I give you an example that I think applies to literally everyone listening right now, at least to somebody in their life?
Drink more beer?
They drink more beer. Actually, that's not advised for your health. Contrary to popular
that's
belief.
That's advised by us, not you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So on the standard annual physical where you get your normal blood tests, your regular test done, they'll test for your glucose, fasted glucose typically, and they'll test for your A1C. Have you guys had these done?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had your fasted insulin tested?
I don't know. I've had insulin tests. I don't know. I mean, can you get tested for insulin without fasting?
So you want the fasted one, just like you're going to do the fasted glucose. You want to get the insulin tested too. It's really not common to have it done. Now there are companies that do it, and you can request it. But I'm really trying to get the word out about fasted insulin being included in the test, because here's what happens. And your doctors are well intended and they're reading the test accurately, what they get back, but they're missing a key ingredient. So in our 30s, let's just say here's 100 and here's 80, right? Like on our glucose. Mm-hmm. And so you might be staying like right here, 30s, 40s, 50s, and your glucose doesn't hit 100. And your doc's like, yeah, this might be a little high, but we're not really worried about it until it hits 100. But all the time that this is being balanced, this is the insulin level in your body. It takes more and more insulin to keep it at a level.
Right.
And then once your insulin goes up, holding it in place to a point where your body has just had enough, it collapses. And that's type 2 diabetes.
Oh, I see.
And so they're not testing for the indication that you're at risk. They're only testing the glucose. Now, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but seriously, there's a lot of money in type 2 diabetes. Why are they waiting until you have type 2 diabetes? Why aren't they tracking your risk factors for it?
This is from your experience, or you're noticing that this is done by...
If you're not getting your insulin tested, then you are not getting the information you need to know if you are on the path to type 2 diabetes. It's not common in the United States to test to see if you're on...
that they would start testing for insulin?
I mean, I would start testing in the 30s. If you're... I would say anyone with a weight issue as early as in your teens. It's such a critical piece of information. I mean, we have children now with type 2 diabetes. So I would say it's based on body type. I'm fairly thin, but it doesn't mean that I'm not at risk. And so
we're the world's fattest country. And we got so much shit in our food that everybody's, it's easy to deal with, they have head portions.
And so I don't really blame the doctors because they are only allowed to test what the insurance companies will pay for.
Right.
So your doctor's really well intended.
Yeah.
The doctor wants you to know.
I don't know how much these tests cost, but I mean, if you request it, I don't imagine it's too expensive for people to pay out of pocket for it. For this particular test.
I did it through Function Health recently. I got 160 biomarkers done, and it cost $365. And then I get to test again in 6 months. And so,
Yeah, I mean, for a lifelong potential illness, I mean, that's a
right.
pretty solid investment.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
some people probably can't afford that. And,
Oh, but what's the price you're paying if you get that to that?
well, I would say just to kind of from that part, a family who is struggling already, $300 it's quite a bit for them.
But I
I
don't know
agree.
I don't know that that's the case for all insurance. Maybe some insurance companies do cover.
If
And
you're,
and I think
if it's a,
if we could just get everybody to ask their doctors, if we could create a movement where it became standard practice to test for fasted insulin, I think everybody would be better off. I mean, people are taking Ozempic and Mounjaro and Wegovy for type 2 diabetes now, and that's at minimum $250 a month. And so even just there, and we all know insulin's expensive, and
Yeah.
metformin's not cheap,
Yeah.
and that's the number one drug for type 2 diabetes.
Right.
metformin kind of suppresses your appetite, right?
I know
I think
that
they all do.
the semaglutide shots do, the GLP-1s
You want
suppress
to-
the appetite. I don't know about metformin.
So Sandy, I want to, and I'm going to mispronounce it.
I know. Let's all laugh from home. Everybody laugh from home.
I practiced before this, but I wanted to ask you, because all of this also led to neural misdiagnosis, which was prescribed you a medicine called nimodipine.
Nimodipine is how I say it.
Thank you. Thank you. Was there a side effect of that? And like, how did you find
You
out?
refused it,
that-
right?
So there's that one I refused. I did take nystatin. I can tell you both stories.
Mhm.
The neurologist suggested that I take nimodipine. It's a drug given to stroke victims to open up the blood flow in the brain if there's a clot.
Mhm.
And it might have worked, but it seemed like such a harsh thing to do. I waited to fill the prescription. And then he also recommended hyperbaric oxygen therapy and neurofeedback. And the hyperbaric doctor asked me what my neurologist had recommended. And when I told him, he said, well, did you see Dr. So-and-so? I was in Fort Lauderdale. This is a pretty big city. This isn't a small town doctor. And I was like, how do you know that? And he said, well, he's the only one that recommends that drug. And so that was, doctors won't shit talk other doctors. But he did plant that seed, and I decided not to take that drug. But that was hard because I was really, really lost. And my now ex-husband, my husband at the time, he was running the company by himself, and he needed me back. It was terrible. He was like, you have to do whatever gets your brain back. And I was like, yeah, but not that. I'm not going to do that. And I said no. But then by the time I figured out it was mold, and it took a month to get the appointment with the doctor who tested me for mold. So I had time to read up on what to do about mold. And so even though I knew when she recommended the drug nystatin, it's a powerful antifungal that's sometimes also given for cholesterol. When she prescribed that, I was like, I'll take whatever, because I was so bad by that point. I couldn't stay awake past 7. I was like, whatever, we'll take the drug. And 4 days into it, when I could not stop thinking about drowning myself in the tub, I was desperate for help, called everyone I knew. It was very difficult, oddly enough, to get help on that day. And then the next day, I looked in the cabinet to take out that, to just take my pill in the morning. And I was like, oh, you're new. And that's when I stopped taking nystatin. So I only took it for 4 days. And I called the doctor and I said, I can't take this drug. And she said, but that's the protocol. You have to do the protocol. And I told you you need mental health help to get through this process. And I said, no. That's not how we do this. You don't give me a drug that makes me think about drowning myself and then I go tell someone so I feel better about that. That's not how this works.
It's a weird cycle for sure.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not taking the drug. And she said, well, then I can't help you. I was like, what? And so I had to look for another doctor at that point. And then I found someone who was an expert, but you got to be really careful if you've got issues with mold, both on the remediation side and on the health side, Because if you get a mold specialist, they know how desperate you are. And he charged $650 an hour and required all of the payments for all of the tests, which none of them mattered, required them all up front. He got a cut of all of it. So I had to pay him $13,000 to see him. And I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I was so desperate. And I did take something called low-dose naltrexone. Now, in high doses, it's used to help come off of heroin. But in low doses, it can lower inflammation in the body. So that is the one pharmaceutical that I took in the process that I took for a while. And it seemed to do some good. But I only saw him for a couple of months because he was so expensive. And then he couldn't read the genetic report that he charged me $6,000 for. And so I still don't know if I have the gene that makes me at risk for Alzheimer's, because it's very coincidental that if you have trouble clearing mold from your body, that you have that gene. Because if you don't have that gene, most people just, if they're exposed to mold, they just process it. It just comes out just like that arsenic from the crab cake. We just process all the time. About 25% of people who are exposed to mold, they say can't get better. But I think they can. I think they just don't know how.
So you went through this expensive trials and errors and tried to, thousands of dollars, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Now you find out it's mold. How extensive research have you done into mold and the effect it does on people? Like, what have you discovered?
So it's not so much that there are types of mold that cause cancer. There are types of mold that cause brain damage. There's types that, but the thing in my case is that, look, first, I just want everyone to know that you can get better. Like if anybody's listening and they're exposed, you can't get better if you continue to breathe it in. You have to get it out of your environment. Your body is designed to heal. And this is the whole premise of my books, is that our bodies are more intelligent than anything else in the world. AI's got nothing on the body. The body's processing billions of times a second, and it knows what to do. It needs a nudge sometimes, and it needs us to get out of its way. So staying in a moldy apartment is not the best way to heal from mold. It's not going to happen. But if you can clean your environment, then you can get it out of your body and you can recover. Because of the placebo effect, I don't really entertain what could be in store for me down the line. I take my health and I live to the fullest with what I have, and I do all the right things, and I try to stay optimized. What I know for sure is that I didn't need to spend more than, in my extreme situation, in hindsight, I could have gotten better for about $5,000. And I spent $100,000 in the first year.
Yeah. And this is all about knowledge and access to resources.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. When someone doesn't know where to start, or even what could have been the cause of it. Where do you start to finding that out?
Well, that's why my books are only $5.
Yeah. That's good. Wow. Yeah. So let's sorry, you have so much to say? Well, I come from a background of construction and landlord. So if you are living in a home that you own or you're renting, my advice would be, if you do see mold or exposure, not to immediately freak out, but immediately, if you're an owner, find a company that will do mold mitigation. Or if you're renting, contact your landlord and just say, look, we've noticed some mold could be worse behind the wall. Can we please adjust the situation before it becomes a liability? And it's just, don't freak out, but just contact who you need to and address it right away. And like you said, continue to live in a place that has mold only worsens the situation.
Yeah.
It'll be more expensive.
And don't put bleach on it.
Yeah.
Bleach puts the mold spores into the air. If you have visible mold that you want to wipe down, vinegar and Dawn soap in combination.
If you own a home and you have an unfinished basement, one way that you can attack mold mitigation yourself is actually go to like a rental tool place, and they sell what's called mist machines. And they have bio healthy whatever chemicals that could kill this mold. You put this in a mist machine and you turn it on and leave the house. And what that mist does, it creates like a cloud in the entire open space.
Yeah, it's a sanitization.
And it lands on every surface, every cracks and nooks, and it kills mold. But then the most difficult part is to come back and you have to vacuum everything. All the mold that's dead now, you got to go through and vacuum and clean it up. And you can get rid of, I'm going to say 99% of the mold. That's
I think that's a good tip.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it's just knowing that and having access to those sort of resources, and just at least having the information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so we were talking. Let's get into your book then, and sort of detail a little more about what that's about.
So the way I got better was truly, it was two things. I had to go really gentle on the binders. You can't just always take activated charcoal. It strips too much out of the body. So there are other things that are more, that are easier on the body, like chlorella, the little green tablets that you can take. That was helpful. I drank a lot of chia seeds with electrolytes. So just chia seeds and water. I would do that 3 times a day. That'll help to bind toxins and pull them out of the body very gently. I found some aloe vera tablets. I don't know if that helped or not. I do feel very strongly that the chlorella and the chia seeds helped me. It just took a while. And then the expensive doctor did teach me one thing that I will keep with me for my whole life, and I think everyone can benefit. You can't, especially if you're doing all the right things. And you've eliminated the threats to your health and your environment. You're making good choices. You can't focus on the symptoms. So something happens when we turn 40. We start to get a little achy in the mornings, and we start to like scan our bodies for, what hurts today? And I was like limping out of bed, and you're laughing because it's just like
that's me every day after jiu-jitsu class.
Oh well, you got a good reason.
Hurt? Yeah, see, that's me without the jiu-jitsu.
And so I learned to stop focusing on symptoms. And so scanning my body for how do I feel today was not helping. And I literally stopped doing it. And so if I would feel mold issues come with weird pains, like an ice pick pain to the thigh, or sometimes referred to as an electric shock pain. And so if something like that would happen, I'd be like, nope. And just nope, stop. Either of those words, when a symptom arises, I call them signals, to take the weight out of the term. So when I get a signal from my body, I go, okay, out, stop, no. And I move forward as if I'm healthy. Because if I believe I'm healthy and I'm doing all the right things for my health, thinking about feeling bad will only make me feel bad. And so that's free. I also got into gongs, which is a little weird, but the vibrations off the gongs, because I play large gongs that you can feel the waves coming off of when you tap them. I feel like that helped to shake mold out of my brain.
Vibration from the gong?
Yeah, so it's
remember the Gong Show? Gong.
No, I get it. I'm just
like
trying to
like
understand.
a 40-inch, very low tone. I've made sound chairs that vibrate at 30 hertz. But anywhere from 30 to 50 hertz, any whole body vibration, there's a lot of research about it. It just happens to be that a gong produces this as well. It's a lot more fun to tap a gong than it is to just sit in a chair, but whole body vibration it engages the lymphatic system and allows toxin removal.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that helped too.
And if you have neighbors, invite them over so they're not bitching about
A gong party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop complaining.
Wait,
Come over. See how
So
fun
you're
it is.
letting out fun to smoke a gong.
My
You know
dog's
what I
not
do with-
scared of thunder because he loves the gong.
See?
Oh, nice.
Perfect.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a Maltipoo. He's a little teddy bear.
Oh, I love
You
that.
guys have dogs?
Oh, yeah. I have a Mud. He's 85 pounds. And then we have a black golden doodle. He's a teddy bear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We lost one last year. So had 3 at the time. But you mentioned chia seeds earlier. I love putting chia seeds in my Chobani yogurt.
Okay. Yeah.
That's really good. And chia seeds are really good too. Frank, that's really good. Actually, I recommend chia seeds after a beer.
I'm sitting and listening alone, and I'm like, I'm just learning so much about your chia fetish.
Not fetish. I'm just saying it's good stuff.
No, it's weird. Like,
Chia.
You get
I never
Chia.
have said chia before. Like you just said chia like 20
We got
times.
some
It's like
70s
the most I've
babies
ever-
in the room.
I get it.
So, but yeah, that's healthy. That's good for you. And so the book started, like, when did you decide to write the book?
So my first book is Biohacking Starts with No, and it's
Okay.
just a rant. It's just me angry at the world, angry at doctors, angry at how modern life presents so many obstacles to feeling good, from the toxins in the water and the air to the sugars and the processed foods. And it's just me on a rant. And then I realized I should probably say something instructive. Now, it's really instructive to know what's threatening the body, and it's an expanded version of eliminate, which is the first E in edge. So I wrote Biological Edge to show people that there's a process for healing. Because the body knows what to do if you give it a chance, but that means you have to eliminate the threats to your body. And beer every now and again is not a problem. Body's going to handle it just fine. But if people are drinking a 6-pack every night, then it's something that the body is having to deal with before it can deal with being healthy. And so it's putting all of its effort into clearing out the alcohol instead of putting its effort into maintaining a vibrant, long life. And the same is true of sugar, microplastics. That was a fight in my house. When I wanted to eliminate all the plastics, so you can't get rid of all of them. I mean, I won't even pretend like I'm close.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I don't
Throw that
put
computer away.
I don't put it in the microwave, and I don't have a drip coffee maker that uses plastic. I have one that's glass, and I was using a French press, but now I found one with glass and stainless steel. My water pitcher is still plastic. I'm still looking for a good water pitcher, water filter. But anything over 40 degrees has the risk of the plastic entering the food. And so if it's in your freezer or your fridge, I was really glad to do the deep dive and find out that my milk carton is not killing me. But I'm cautious with anything that I have wrapped in plastic. Like, I'll use a silicone bag instead of a plastic bag for my muffins on the counter.
I see.
Just little things like that.
Microplastics is such a difficult thing to combat because it's in so many places, and they all have such a different range of breakdown levels. Just something simple to get a hot cup of coffee, it looks paper on the outside, but it's got that plastic lining on the inside.
It
The
does.
temperature of the coffee breaks that plastic down to microplastics. Then a lot of plastic waste that's in the ocean that breaks down. The microplastics get in seafood and fish, then that ends up in our seafood. So it's like you said, our bodies are so intelligent. I think they are adapting on getting rid of these plastics.
Right.
There was toothpaste that we stopped using. I forgot what it was, but it had these like microplastics in them or something. It's like granule almost. And and my wife and I were like, yeah, maybe we should switch to.
But even your tube of toothpaste now is really a microplastic. What is that tube made out of?
I've
Yeah, but
switched to David's toothpaste, which both is plastic free and no fluoride.
What is the material it's in?
I think it's metal, some kind of metal. And
Oh, like an
maybe it's
aluminum?
lined in something just like our aluminum cans
Okay,
are.
yeah.
It's
But
hard
the
to know.
lining will only break down if it's exposed to just the right temperature.
Right.
So based on the type of plastic it is, different range of temperature causes the breakdown levels. But yeah, so it's a very difficult. I mean, we have a plastic island floating in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
You know, size of a Rhode Island or
Yeah.
something. It's ridiculous.
And
You know,
it's particularly dangerous for men because plastics and phthalates, which is a flexible type of plastic, but also found in personal care products. Phthalates will be in cologne and deodorant and shampoos and soaps. These things affect testosterone levels. And so the risk from plastics and phthalates for men is showing up in lower testosterone levels, even in guys in their 20s. If you start spraying yourself with Axe body spray as a teenager, you might not have the testosterone that your dad had in his 20s. And so I'm deeply concerned about what that's doing for motivation and healing because testosterone gets a bad rap. It's a wonderful hormone that enables fertility and strength and repair and motivation.
I dodged that bullet.
Yeah, but without enough testosterone, you start getting like chesticles or boobies.
Yeah.
Man boobies, right? Yeah.
Or if you eat too much edamame.
It's chia seed, I think is what it's chia. But yeah, so all this stuff that's like environmentally, I know that's part of your book as well, your most recent book, relieving the stress levels caused by environmental and sort of outside influence. And it's not really a holistic sort of approach you were discussing. I mean, there's maybe a little aspect of that in your book, right? But
I mean,
it's more factual based as well.
It is definitely all based in fact. What I will say about whether it's holistic or not, I do emphasize the natural intelligence of the body because that's free. Like we have it. We have the intelligence to heal. It's in us. We don't have to think to heal. If you cut your finger, it's going to heal. The body knows what to do. But if you keep poking it, like Andrew Garfield, the president, he died because they kept poking the wound. Have you seen that Netflix series about him?
No,
He got shot, and had they just left the bullet alone, it would have healed around the bullet and he would have been fine. But he died because they thought they had to keep poking the wound and poking the pus. They thought that they were helping him heal, but they were aggravating it and it killed him. So on his own, without any sort of outside manipulation, he would have been fine. But he died because his doctor
it's like
didn't know
Game of
any
Thrones.
better.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones when the cherry killed him because it kept poking him and then poisoned him.
Yeah.
Like he got infected and he died.
And I was thinking holistically, I meant like, there's no, you're not sitting there like inhaling, incense and like this candle.
No, that's probably bad for you too.
Right.
I do on occasion, but not routinely. And I was running health events. I'm not running them anymore, but I ran 2 health events in Miami and I felt kind of bad. I mean, my second book is me feeling guilty about putting so many biohacking companies in a room. I thought I was doing something helpful. I thought that if I got all of these vendors together and people could just walk around and try things out, that they'd figure out what would work for them. Because I had to do it all just by reading testimonials online, and that was part of why I spent so much money. So I thought I'll get them all in the same room, and I had 1,500 and 1,000 people at the 2 different events, and that will help them. But that was naive. It didn't help anybody. And it only confuses matters because when you get these companies in front of people, they all say the same thing. My product fixes everything.
Yeah.
And then it's 80 companies in a room, and what do? You can't buy them all. You don't really know what works. Doing it once isn't going to tell you. And so I want people to understand, like, I spent $27,000 on a hyperbaric oxygen chamber because I was prescribed to do it for $20,000 worth in a clinic. And I was really desperate to get my brain back. So I was like, I'll buy the thing for $7,000. My husband can use it. And then we'll have it. He still has it, by the way.
You'll get that back.
No, it's just too heavy. But it gave me headaches because I had mold in my brain. So hyperbaric oxygen therapy absolutely heals the brain. But if you've got mold in your brain, the mold fights back. Mold doesn't care if you live or die. It will live off your corpse. And so it puts up a fight if you go after it really hard. And so with the oxygen, it just put up a fight. And I had these massive headaches. Well, after I'd gotten the mold out of my body, I could use it and it felt great. But you can't even try one of the best therapies that exists once and know if it works. Right. And so I wanted to outline for people that if you can eliminate the assaults on your body, like my cousin Brian called me one day and he said, Sandy, he's a good old boy from Kentucky. He goes, Sandy, what do you think about lion's mane? And I said, Brian, where did you even hear about lion's mane? And he goes, I hear it's good for brain fog. And I said, Brian, you should stop eating at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And he went, oh.
Yeah.
That was a good accent.
And then, thanks, I come by it honestly. I'm also from Kentucky. But within 2 weeks, he lost 16 pounds because he took my advice on how to rid his body of the sugar addiction. And I don't recommend a keto diet for everyone all the time, but as a temporary fast, it was really effective for me and for him.
And it's all connected, right? I mean, we're the fattest country, or the most unhealthy country, or the most expensive healthcare. But when you can go somewhere, even McDonald's, say, want to just get something even nice and small, but you can double it for $1. You double it for $1. Now you're eating all extra shit, like all this. Just we're value driven. We're always in a rush. We're not Europe where you can sit there and have your espresso and sort of walk to work and have a grand old day. It's systemically, there's a huge issue. There's a huge culture problem in these.
Well, also, they don't have the same ingredients in McDonald's in other countries that they have here. Yeah. We allow so much in our food that has not been tested for safety. I mean, the thing with the hormone disruption is that when they do test these chemicals, they're testing it to see if it'll kill you. They're not testing it to see if it disrupts your fertility. They're not testing it to see if your hormones will be out of balance. And so there are cascading effects from imbalanced hormones, and they're not in the market approved or not approved based on how it affects estrogen or testosterone. It's just, will this kill you in short order, yes or no? And most things aren't tested.
This genetically modified stuff, this one chicken fast food restaurant that people talk about, like they pump full said you want to get all this meat, but like what is unhealthy? Same with cows, same with beef. They want to pump you up. They want to get more bang for the buck. They can feed this animal this much, but they get this much out of harvesting it. But what is that doing? Because there was a study I saw years ago about people in the NFL, like National Football League. Like, you used to have a running back, he's 5'8", 190. Now, like someone like Jerome Bettis is like 5'10", 260 as a running back. Or like linemen, you get 400-pound linemen. Where did this come from? Like, how are people this big and still that athletic? Like, and so they said it's part of what our country is able to feed people. It sort of helps this genetically, altered human being become a super athlete.
I think some genetically modified foods, they say with GMO free or I don't think all of it is bad. Like I watched a documentary about genetically modified foods, and they were saying, we'll take a carrot, for example, it's a root. a natural carrot is not tasty. Most people will not eat it. If not all people, they just would ignore it just like a root from a tree or a plant because it's gross.
That's the way I feel about onions.
But it contains, we're not going to go there, but it contains good vitamins. So they genetically modify it so that it's orange and it's not disgusting, and therefore like people will eat it. So I think same maybe with tomatoes. So there's some vegetables and maybe fruits too that are genetically modified, but that maybe not as bad as we think. But other things that, if you got this chicken that's in the grocery store that looks like giant watermelon, which is not normal.
Yeah.
And then I buy chicken from my friend who owns a farm and it's nice and lean, how it should look like. So you're like,
but that food tastes way better. Like if you buy the stuff that's like, I don't know if even organic, it's even, the organic food you can buy in the store. I don't know if that's even
fully organic.
Yeah. I mean, but if you go find someone that's a buddy or a trusted source and you can go buy it off of their, homemade sort of thing, that food and those vegetables, all that food, that up and that meat, that all tastes better to me than stuff you buy.
Yeah, I buy the Amish eggs in Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not organic, but because they can't afford the designation.
Well, who can? I mean, that's the problem. Right. Like, so you buy it because it says organic. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I mean,
right? Is it organic financially driven?
Yeah.
Is it more marketing?
Yeah, it's organically driving more cash to the government. That's what it's organically.
The thing about
the designation.
Genetic engineering that I don't think that it's the engineering that's the problem. It's the what is it being engineered for is what we should really all care about, because most of the corn grown in the United States and Mexico is genetically engineered to survive a crop dusting of Roundup. And so they're just putting the pesticides directly on the corn and the weeds die, but it's modified so that it doesn't kill the corn. And so this other life-killing substance, Roundup, is being dumped on everything. And I don't want to eat that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really careful about corn, strawberries, wheat. They're putting glyphosate, which is the ingredient in Roundup. They're putting that on harvested wheat. And they started that around 2006. And that's when people started to have all these gluten sensitivities. Might not be the gluten so much as how we're harvesting the crop. Mm-hmm. And so there's all this weirdness that has come out in the last few years. And then it became political, and that sucks. Like, why can't we just care about our bodies and our health without taking sides?
Even peanut allergies. Like I growing up as a kid in the 70s, asshole. I don't remember ever have anybody ever.
Yeah.
And maybe even until I got to high school, I never heard of peanut allergy.
Yeah.
Now there's just it's very prevalent. Like I don't understand what happened with peanuts. Or not everybody. That there's just a lot more people are allergic to it. I don't even know how to grow peanut or what happens with that. But I just don't understand these gluten-free or what's the people can't have gluten, like celiac
disease, yeah.
Right. I don't understand. I mean, it's a real problem, and I'm not dismissing the people to have that, but how did we arrive at where we are now?
I think we arrived at it with the gut dysbiosis. So in 8-year-old terms, because that's my preferred way of communicating in my own life, if you're not shitting properly, it's not working, right? Like you got to go every day, and most Americans don't.
But what's causing that issue that they're not? Like what
it's the
has
processed foods,
right? But peanuts are not processed, right?
But it's that because of the processed foods that we don't have the protective immunity against these things.
So we go back to you saying most Americans don't shit every day. What?
I don't think most Americans poop every day. I think
then I'm not
constipation's
like
a.
most very.
Really?
I need to be fact checked on that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely not. I was going to say, I'm the other way.
I don't think I can go without going twice a day.
Well, you're working out and you know a lot about health just on the little bit you've said already. So I think that
I
makes
think
sense for you.
I mean, I would think that if I'm eating unhealthy food, wouldn't my body want to flush that out? Like,
Yeah, get this poison out of me.
yeah.
Well, I think that that's why some people have inflammatory bowel disease. That is the like total rejection of the body is just so inflamed and can't handle it. It's also a gut dysbiosis problem. If you can get all the microbes in balance, they will take care of you. But they have to be in balance. And even little things like eating sugar will overgrow the yeast in your gut, and then that will make it difficult to poop. And I think and you can't just take a probiotic and have that fix it, because if you have a leaky gut, if the lining is thin, then you're just going to put bacteria in your body, good or bad. At that point, you need your gut to have a nice smooth mucus lining, and when you have that, everything moves properly.
Yeah, there's something I was taking for about a year and a half or so, and I would buy it. It's a small container. It's a liquid. I would buy it from Costco, and it's to help your digestive system.
Mm.
I don't. Maybe there are some probiotics in it, but there's more to it. And you would take like a small, almost like a Robitussin cup, like the measuring cup you take if you got a cold, and you just take that once a day, and one bottle would be good for like 90 days. So I've taken that for about a year and a half, and did I notice a difference? I don't know, maybe slight enough that it wasn't so substantial that I was like, oh wow, this is the side effect of that. But I was also mixing that stuff with like those shakes, the good greens shakes, and I would take some like proteins or creatine, depending on the workouts. So there's a lot that's mixed in my body. It's hard for me to isolate which one is doing what. You know what I mean? Yeah, it would be a long, lengthy research to eliminate one,
Right.
or eliminate all of it. Like kind of,
I do that sometimes. I go on
like
a
kind of
supplement fast.
detox
Yeah.
for
Reset. Yeah.
for 90 days, right? Get everything out of your system, and then start with one only for a while, and then see if you're starting to notice.
Well, the
But,
body gets dependent on these substances too, so it's good to pulse them or cycle them. But that brings me back. I got lost on my story about my cousin. That's why I tell everyone, and it's not because I'm into natural healing. I'm into recognizing the natural power that exists within us to heal. And so it's not that I want you to sniff lavender oil and that will make you feel better because it's natural. What I really mean is that your body is smart. Let it do its job. Stop assaulting it with outside compounds. Find one and eliminate it. And it might be blue light at night. It might be eliminate the phone after 7 p.m. It's different for everybody. And I'm extreme. I've eliminated so much joy from my life, but also the phone addiction I can live without. And I love cupcakes, and I don't eat them anymore, not very often. It's got to be like a birthday or something.
And chia seed cupcakes.
And so once you eliminate the things, then you can start to hear your body's signals better. And that's what I call decode. And then, only then, do I think we should start adding supplements or devices or things. Like, I love to put light on my brain, but I don't do it all the time. And it was the first thing I bought when I was sick, and it didn't do any good because I was sick. And it's not a miracle. It doesn't do everything. But I do like the feeling now, the subtle feeling of a little bit more energy when I do something like that.
Right.
But it's last in the sequence. It's for people who are feeling better and want to be who want to perform at a higher level. These aren't about curing diseases or the devices on the market and the supplements. I mean, they're supportive. They're not nothing's a cure, but the body has the ability to heal anything if we just give it a chance.
So it's not a cure, but it could help prevent once you are cured.
Yeah.
Or jumpstart. Yeah. So Sandy, what is your mission now going forward?
I two things. One is that I really, really want people to take this fasted insulin advice. Ask your doctor to test for that. As many people as I can get that idea in front of, the better. And the second thing we haven't talked about, but it's the subject of my next book. I want to put more love in the world. And my next book is going to be Love for Longevity. And relationships make a huge difference, and how we carry ourselves in the world. The body is more apt to heal if we are in a loving state than in an agitated state.
Well, for sure. I don't know what the plans are for this book when it's going to be done. But certainly we'd love to have you back on to talk about that if you want to do with us 2 weeks again.
Love that.
I think the world needs more love. For certain.
Of it. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and you talk a little bit about it, like politically, the world's a mess. Everybody just, it's sad to do things that you used to be able to do and not have them said. Like watching TV, all these things that you could have done, or just talking to people in general. There's so much negativity. It is what it is now, but hopefully, more people will be able to change that. One way is, I don't know how, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but I guess it's need to start.
Yeah,
I think the amount of division is so much. I don't even know we call it being this much.
It's exhausting.
And maybe we need more. If we can learn to love, looking past disagreements or different views, I think there'll be less of that hate and division. And
it's okay to disagree, but it can be constructive. It doesn't have to be argumentative. I mean, in fact, not everybody should always agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a really shitty, boring world. But you can talk about it, constructively and civilly and have that conversation. But unfortunately, that's
a healthy conversation can also be educational, whether they learn something from us or we learn something from them. You never know. So the love of, what is it?
Love for Longevity is the working title. But it's about halfway done. It's a work in progress.
Make it a picture book for them.
Get a picture book. I do have one of those. My first book was a children's book, and it's called Love Prince.
Okay, so this is going to be your fourth book?
Yes. Yeah. I forget about the children's books sometimes. They're all on Amazon. But the children's book, I told my nephew when he was 5 that he could ask his heart for love anytime he wanted, and it would just give it to him. And he went, oh, I know. When I ask my heart for love, it gives me so much love. It comes out of the top of my head and my feet. And when I walk, I leave love prints. And so that's the first one.
Nice. So all the books can be found on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can put a link in the description as well. Are you promoting your current book now? Are you doing signings and?
I'll be at Dave Asprey's event next week. I'll be in Louisville for MagnaCon in June. But other than that, I'm not really promoting the book so much, except telling people on podcasts. But it's the latest one is Biological Edge.
We
That's
have
the one that I think is really constructive. But if you want a good rant, the first one, Biohacking Starts With No, is a lot of fun.
I think I want to see the rant. I was getting it. But we have good friends that have a podcast actually in Louisville. So we'll reach out to them and see if they want to go.
Yeah. Sounds good. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
The Maltipoo just showed up. He can always tell when we're done with the podcast. And so I don't know how he knows, but he always knows. And he just walked out.
I'm looking at
My dog would never.
what does he say? He's like, podcast now.
Yeah, he's like, are you done? Are you done, Mama? Yeah.
My dog is just not patient.
He's so cute.
That's a
He
Dachshund.
looks like my dog, but not that.
Like a shrinky dink of your dog, right?
Yeah,
How
he
many
would
pounds
love
is he?
your golden doodle.
How many pounds is he?
He's about 18, maybe 20 now. He's a little
okay.
chunky.
Maybe half of my dog.
I got a pug mate's who's 25. He just doesn't sit. He just like he doesn't want to be held. Like he can tell cuddle.
How good he is.
Doesn't cuddle.
Yeah.
If you pick him up like that, he's gonna be like antsy. He's gonna look down. It's really weird. Roman does the same thing when we pick him up.
Yeah, I carry my dogs. I carry
You
my
like a
dog
good belly rub?
babies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's lots of fur on there, right? So
You
are you
guys are
on
great.
Instagram?
Thanks for having me on.
Of
Are
course.
you on Instagram or Facebook or anything like this?
Yeah,
or-
BioEdge Longevity or Speak with Sandy. Either one of those.
Okay.
All right. All the description will be all the details will be in the description. Where to buy the book, where to connect with you. Any other podcasters want to have you on, have a discussion. That'd be great. Support the cause. Quick thanks to our sponsors, Apex Property Management and FM Realty Group, East Grooming, Eastwood Grooming Company. Thank you for sponsoring this episode as well. Thank you to all the listeners, all the followers. Support this podcast by going to boozeandbanterstore.com, buy our merchandise. Really appreciate all the money goes right back into the podcast. And especially thank you, Sandy, for joining us.
Follow Sandy. Thank you for being here. And we hope you want to come back on whenever you're ready to do so.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right?
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?